Cambridge, and welcome to What's That About, where we answer all your questions about the pressing issues of the day, brought to you by CCTV. Welcome to the darkest timeline, friends.
You should have worn a goatee.
It's hidden under my beard.
And I have a dagger in my sash. Our first question comes from Angela on Magoon Street. Angela asks, last year you covered Milton's decision to reject the MBTA Communities Act and Attorney General Campbell's subsequent threat to sue the town to force them to comply. What came out of that state Supreme Court lawsuit?
Milton, the town that hates its kids so much they won't let anyone build new houses. Just go to therapy, NIMBYs.
Usually I tell you to turn it down a notch, but in this case, voters in Milton seem to have lost their damn minds.
Now, Julie, some of my best friends live in Milton. Well, one or two friends. I mean, I like them. I don't know how they feel about me.
It's time for a Milton history lesson that I took from a recent Boston Globe article written by Andrew Brinker. Boop. In 1701, colonial governor William Stoughton gave 40 acres to the town with the stipulation that it be used for the benefit of the poor.
Wow, that seems pretty big-hearted for a bewigged old lobsterback who presided over the Salem witch trials where they literally burned people at the stake.
Not literally, most people were hung, but get those torches ready, Max. The town of Milton originally turned that land into a work farm with housing for the poor, but it has sat mostly empty since the 1940s until the last decade when the town sold off a big portion of the land to a luxury developer who built a bunch of single-family mansions on it.
Ugh, where's my oil-soaked rags and staves?
It gets worse. There was still 4 acres left undeveloped, so in the time leading up to the MBTA zoning vote, the town received 2 different proposals to build 35 units of affordable housing on that land.
Okay, well, that's better than nothing, I guess.
Way better than nothing, but immediately after the zoning vote failed, Milton went further and decided to say, screw everyone but existing homeowners, and they voted out one of the pro-affordable housing select board members. Now the board is just sitting on the proposals with the intention of letting them die.
What could possibly be their argument other than, you, poors?
It's the usual NIMBY excuse. According to Milton board chair Richard Wells, not that I'm against an affordable project, I just don't think this is the right place for it. He also mentioned typical concerns about increased traffic in the area.
Wow, on land deeded specifically to help the poor. Well, Richard Wells is a cartoon villain. Does he have like a coat made of Dalmatian puppies in his closet?
Milton may be one of the most egregious, but they're far from the only NIMBY towns fighting zoning changes. 31 towns like Rockport, Weston, Winthrop, and now Needham have voted down zoning upgrades or are otherwise trying to fight the MBTA Communities Act.
Boo. Well, okay, so those towns suck, but A.G. Campbell believes she can force him to comply, correct? Isn't that the lawsuit that viewer Angela originally asked about? We should probably get back to that.
True. As Angela said, A.G. Campbell took Milton to the state Supreme Court for a ruling and basically won. The court ruled that the Attorney General has the power to enforce the MBTA Communities Act.
Woo!
But the court also said the state did not strictly follow correct procedures when sending out the Act's guidelines. So basically, following the ruling, the state had to quickly resubmit guidelines with the proper notices.
Ugh, details, details, details. So what does that mean to us in layman terms? That's the kind of people that watch this show, Julie. Men and women who lay.
The 31 communities that have not submitted zoning to comply with the Act now have to submit a compliance plan by July 14th of this year.
Okay, if they don't submit a new plan, then what happens?
For starters, those communities will be ineligible for state funding for things like local infrastructure, roads, water, and sewer projects. But A.G. Campbell could also take other enforcement actions, potentially even having the state write new zoning regulations for the towns, which is probably what Beacon Hill should have done in the first place.
All this fuss just to keep your town from building a little more housing at a time when the entire state is in crisis. I mean, young people, including those select boards' children, presumably, are being forced to leave the area for states that do not recognize the basic human values like freedom of religion or the right to be treated with dignity no matter what your race, orientation, or country of birth are. Do they want their kids to have to move to Texas or Florida where they're currently trying to make it illegal even for women to drive over the border just to get health care?
Right, Max. And remember, even best case, the MBTA Communities Act will only put a small dent in the demand for housing. But you got to start somewhere. The amount of pushback against a zoning update this modest is quite telling.
Keep up the pressure, A.G. Campbell. I want my imaginary children and my friends and family's very real children to have a place to live in Massachusetts, if that's what they want.
Until next week.
We'll see you first. I'm living in Tallahassee, 'cause I couldn't pay the rent. I'm from Milton, Massachusetts, that's where I got my accent. I wanted to stay, but Milton's council looked at me with scorn. Hell no, Milton said, we won't give you shelter from the storm. Hell no, Milton said, we won't give you shelter from the storm.